This episode is brought to you by HASA. Liquid is clearly better. Liquid chlorine is the highest purity, works immediately, has no added cyanuric acid or calcium, and it will leave your pool safe, clean, and clear. And by the Bottom Feeder professional grade battery powered vacuum system. It sucks to clean pools, so cleaning pools sucks less. Get $100 off with code DVB100.
This episode is brought to you by Skimmer, the #1 pool service software in North America. With Skimmer, you can streamline your schedule, grow your revenue, and keep your customers coming back with 5-star service. Whether you're a one-person operation or an established team, Skimmer is your partner in success. Visit getskimmer.com/poolguy to try Skimmer for free for 30 days.
The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show.
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'm going to talk to you about ducks in the pool. I'll give you some tips on how to get rid of them safely without harming them. Also, I'll cover some effects that the ducks have on a pool as far as chemistry and some of the risks they pose for a backyard swimming pool. Are you a pool service pro looking to take your business to the next level? Join the Pool Guy Coaching Program. Get expert advice, business tips, exclusive content, and get direct support from me. I'm a 35-year veteran in the industry. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, I've got the tools to help you succeed. Learn more at swimmingpoollearning.com. If you live anywhere where ducks may migrate to, over here where I live, there's actually about 10 minutes away, there's a lake. It's a pretty well-used lake by the ducks. There's also a couple cemeteries that have water features. And the ducks seem to migrate to backyard pools in the area. They usually come in pairs of 2. I think they're usually a mating pair and they're looking for a place to kind of have their baby ducklets or whatever you call them. I probably should have looked that up. And you'll find sometimes the eggs around the pool. You'll even see the ducklings. That's what they're probably called, ducklings. In the pool itself, I found that also to be the case. And it's something that it's kind of cute. I mean, ducks are cute. I'll give them that. But they can turn a pristine blue pool into a swamp within a matter of days. They seem to have a lot of excrement. All the time they're going to the bathroom, and this excrement can carry some bacteria and viruses like salmonella. So there is a health risk posed by these ducks. Now, if you do have ducks swimming in the pool, I suggest you just use the CPO format as far as safety for any kind of waste in the pool. Scoop out the waste the best you can with your leaf rake. I wouldn't recommend vacuuming it into the filter if you can avoid that. Sometimes there's a suction cleaner running on the bottom that's already happening. And then you want to raise the chlorine level to about 10 to 20 parts per million just to kill anything that's in the water. But how do you get rid of the ducks? Well, there are a few time-tested methods. There are things that are totally ineffective. So let me start with what's really ineffective. The most ineffective thing are those automatic sprinklers. If you put it in the ground with your garden hose and it has like a motion sensor, it's not going to do anything except get the pool pro wet. I mean, I've been back there before and it surprised me a few times. The customer had one of these set up and it just comes on when I walk by it and sprays me with water. The ducks are unaffected by these things. In fact, I've been at pools where there's ducks in the pool. These things come on while they're on the deck, and it does nothing to them because, ducks like water. So what is a sprinkler going to do to the duck? It's not going to scare them away. Another thing that's ineffective is your dog. If you think the dog's going to keep the ducks out, it's not going to happen. The ducks aren't scared of the dog. They're in the pool. The dog can't get to them. When they're on the deck, they can easily get into the pool or fly away. So the dogs are really ineffective. They'll bark a lot. They'll try to get them, but I haven't seen a duck caught yet by any dog on my pool route. And it's kind of irritating for the homeowner when the neighbors and the dogs are barking constantly at these ducks. So that's also really ineffective. Now, here are some things that are pretty effective without going all out crazy to get rid of the ducks. And the first thing that I think you can try that's pretty affordable, or at least there's actually 2 things you can try that are pretty affordable. And for the ducks in my area, these are effective. Now, these may not be effective for all ducks, but in my area, these are fairly effective. And that is an alligator float or a swan float. Now, the swan float seems to be more effective because I've heard someone tell me this, that the swans are like the duck's natural enemy or whatever. Maybe it's not quite that kind of relationship, but they don't like landing in the pool when they see a giant white swan float. Most of these swan floats are pretty big, and so they'll see it right away. The alligator floats I find to be effective as well. I'm not sure if it's effective for all ducks, but I've had some pool pros tell me that the alligator float did nothing, the duck just landed there. But if you do a combination of both of these floats, I think it's going to be effective. So maybe get 2 alligators and 1 giant swan, depending on how big your pool is, and put it in the pool, and pretty much the ducks will go away after that. In my testing or in my experience with these on the route, the ducks do get scared away. Now, I've had instances again where these weren't too effective. It might be because the pool was pretty big. So I had a pool that was probably about 25,000 gallons on the route, and these ducks would land there. I had the alligator float in, I had the swan float. It was too big of a pool, I think, for that to be effective. So it wasn't something that I discovered, but the customer actually put these in the pool one day when I got there. The service day was I remember this clearly because the service day was a Thursday, and I get there and there's 20 of these floating orbs in the pool. And it was pretty cool looking, but then I noticed that there was no ducks. And he came out and he's like, yeah, I got these pond orbs, and they're really effective. They keep the ducks away, and it's something that I looked up, and they work really well. And truth be told, they actually were really effective. And I've referred this to other people who have bigger pools, and sometimes the customers don't really like the alligator and swan float in their pool, to be honest. It kind of looks tacky, especially if they've spent $200,000 on their pool. But these orbs actually look pretty classy, so you can find them on Amazon. They're called stainless steel gazing balls, and I think the bigger ones are more effective, so 10 inches and above would be good. They're not cheap. I mean, for a 10-inch one, it's $35. I'm looking at them right now. Let me see if they have a larger one. So it seems like the 10-inch is pretty standard. There's a 12-inch one for $51, and I think he had some 15-inch ones. Let me see if I can find them here. So it's not cheap, and you probably need about 10 of these. So you're looking at like $300 for these orbs if you want to make it effective. But if the ducks are a serious problem and you really want to eliminate them and the floats aren't working, because the floats are really inexpensive actually compared to these orbs, I can guarantee you that these gazing globe mirror balls or stainless steel gazing balls or pond orbs, however you want to search for them, are highly effective. I haven't seen a pool with these in it where the duck still lands in there, mainly because I've heard that the ducks don't like their reflection. I guess you can try mirrors on the deck, maybe get some mirrors and put them on the deck. I haven't tried that. That may scare them away. But these floating orbs are definitely something that's really effective in getting rid of the ducks. Now, there's other things you can do as well to get rid of the ducks. Again, I've seen some scented stuff you can put around the pool that's supposed to scare them away. I mean, they do sell the fake owls. If you have birds that land there a lot, these fake owls are actually really effective. They're not super effective with the ducks as far as I've seen in my testing, but they do scare away smaller birds. So let's say you have a spa spillway and a lot of small birds are, drinking out of it and excrement go into the pool. You can get these owls and they're pretty effective with the smaller birds. But again, customers have tried these and it didn't seem to affect the owls, at least in my area in California. They weren't too scared by it. There's also lights, that come on. There's some weird stuff like goose repellent. I don't think that's going to work effectively with the ducks. It got pretty bad reviews on Amazon. And I don't think the lights are something that are made for ducks. It's made mainly for other critters like squirrels, rabbits, and raccoons. That's a good deterrent. And by the way, since I mentioned raccoons, if you have raccoons visiting your pool, this is something that's worse than ducks. Raccoons like to wash their food, so they'll get into the first step, wash their food, and they'll probably go to the bathroom in the pool. Now, the raccoon excrement is very dangerous. There's a parasite in there that can be very dangerous, so you definitely want to prevent the raccoons from getting in your pool. And it's really easy to get rid of raccoons in my experience with them. Simply put a piece of plywood over the step area, A customer put a surfboard over the steps. That's perfectly fine. That works effectively. Just stop them from getting into the pool at the step area because they don't jump in the pool. They'll just step into the first step, wash their food, and get out. If you have a spa, you may want to cover the spa as well. But a 10 by 12 piece of plywood covering the step area. I had another customer put these really big 8 by 4 beams across it. They were like 14 feet long, and you put them across the whole pool, and it was really effective as well. You just want to cover the step area so that the raccoons don't get into the pool, and that's highly effective. But back to the ducks, you can try these things. They're totally ineffective. Again, the floats and the orbs work well. Now, if everything fails, which I don't think it will, but let's say that all these things fail and the ducks are still using the pool, the end all is to get a solar cover and cover the pool up basically, and that will get rid of the ducks for sure. They don't really like getting on top of the solar blanket. They're there for the water. To me, it's unsightly, and it's something that you have to actually purchase it, cut it the size of your pool, or you can just put it over your pool temporarily. I suppose you can buy a large tarp and do the same thing to keep the ducks out. They'll get tired of it and fly away and find another pool to go to. So that's kind of basically what you're trying to get them, not to use your pool as a stopping area and not to use your pool, I guess, to nest and have babies. And you want to just get them to go to someone else's pool, maybe your neighbor's pool, maybe not that close, but somewhere else, and maybe go back to the lake or pond that they came from. And these are really effective deterrents. I think start with the Swan Float. Let me see how much it is on Amazon here. They're like $14 to $26 for the Swan Float. So definitely it's going to be cheaper than the pond orbs. And I definitely would start with that first to see if you can deter them. One thing to note is that you can't harm the ducks in California. They're protected. So if you're thinking of doing anything that would harm them, I've had people, want to string wires up across the pool to kind of hurt the ducks while they're trying to land in the pool. Not a good idea because they're protected. Anything anything that you do to harm the duck, you can get in trouble. And you're maybe wondering, well, no one's going to know that I'm doing this. Well, you have neighbors, and neighbors tend to be watching everything, and you just want to be careful. You don't harm the ducks. You just want to basically scare them away so they go somewhere else and bother someone else, and then of course they'll have to implement these things to get rid of the ducks. Now, I mentioned earlier the ducks can really make the pool swamp pretty rapidly, so what's the best way to turn things around? I mentioned you want to scoop out the waste. You don't really want to vacuum the waste up if you can avoid it, and if you have a portable pump, even better. I've used that before. So I had a pool that had a ton of duck waste in it. The ducks were using it. It was really crazy. So I got my portable pump and I just kind of vacuumed the waste and got rid of it. You can do the same thing if you have a backwash valve that has a waste mode or something like that. You can definitely, a sand filter or a defilter with waste mode. You can vacuum that out the waste. And then you want to, again, shock the pool. Treat the pool like a green pool. A lot of times you're going to have algae in the pool. Polar X would be great to help with combat the algae. But it's really useless to do this if the ducks are using the pool continuously. So scaring the ducks away is part of the equation here. You can't just superchlorinate the pool. And by the way, the high chlorine level has no effect on the ducks whatsoever. So superchlorinate the pool, and then you definitely want to clean the filter. That's a must, especially if there's a lot of duck waste in there, just to be safe. I mean, if it was your pool, would you want to be swimming in a pool where there's duck waste in the filter? I don't think so. So it's a good idea to clean the pool. Of course, you're going to charge the customer for the filter cleaning because it's not something that was expected. So clean the filter, bring the pool back by shocking it, and then keep these preventative measures in the pool during the season where the ducks may land in the pool. I've had customers make the mistake that once the ducks go away, they take the floats out or take the orbs out, and then invariably a week or two later, the ducks return to the pool. So you want to make sure you keep the protocol and keep these things up and active, and that way the ducks don't return. And they only seem to come at a certain time of the season. Again, they come in pairs because I think they're mating and they're having their babies there at the pool. It's a pretty safe area in a backyard for if I was a duck, I would definitely prefer a backyard pool to a pond or a lake. And last, educate your customers that yes, the ducks are cute, but don't be leaving food out for the ducks, bread, or feeding them, because you're only going to encourage them. And invariably, and this happened to me, I had a customer She was one of those that, really like nature. I'll just leave it at that. And she would feed these ducks. She would actually feed them in the pool with bread. And lo and behold, more and more ducks started showing up because, hey, the word gets out. Hey, there's food over here. And so by the time I got her to stop doing this and she realized the problem that these ducks were causing, there was a whole flock of ducks basically that I had to deal with. So educate the customer that, yes, they're cute, but they will leave the pool a mess and turn it into a swamp within a matter of days or even the next day. And let them know that their waste does pose some risk. It could be contaminated with salmonella or E. coli, and you don't want that in your pool. And so once the customer knows the risk of it, it really scares them because they're partnering with you to get rid of these ducks. And I guess as far as the chemical costs, when you do shock the pool, if you're putting a Pool RX or shocking the pool and cleaning the filter, all of that is passed on to the customer. You're not absorbing those costs. They should know that. And that's going to motivate them even more to be on your team to get rid of the ducks. They should let you know right away when there's a duck problem. You'll know, of course, because you'll probably get to the stop and see the duck swimming in the pool. And again, you're ineffective too because you'll try to scare them away. And I've done this before. They just fly away to one side, walk around the deck, maybe come back in after I leave. But you're not going to scare them away long term. And just make sure they're on your side and on your team to get rid of the ducks. And the easiest way to do that is to pass all the costs of the cleanup onto them and to also let them know of the danger that the duck waste poses. If you're looking for other podcasts I've recorded, you can find those on my website, swimmingprolearning.com. On the banner, click on the podcast icon. There'll be a drop-down menu of other podcasts I've recorded. And if you're interested in the coaching program that I offer, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless. This episode is brought to you by HASA, providing products that deliver clean, healthy water for every aspect of everyday life. The bottom feeder battery-powered vacuum system, portable, powerful, and only weighs 12 pounds. And Skimmer. Get Skimmer, America's #1 pool service software. Podcast listeners can try Skimmer for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.